Well, I am so glad that you guys are here with me on tonight. I just wanted to have a little pillow talk with you, mainly because I'm so excited about what God is doing in our community. Our community is beginning to take on a form, and it most definitely is reflecting what God said to me over 20 years ago. I find it to be quite interesting how sometimes we ignore God when God tells us to do things, and it may not be like ignoring it just to be disrespectful, but you think you heard God say something, and then you kind of say, well, I don't know if it was God or not, or if it was just me. And then you tell somebody and they speak against it, then you feel like something just stung so deep in your soul. And that's how you know that that was an enemy attack, because the fruit that you get ready to produce, the devil was like, aha, you found out. So he tries to stop us from being obedient to what God says, even if we are not aware that we're being disobedient. So fast forward 20 something years later, here I am. And I'm so excited about uh, the changes in the channel. It's still going to be okay, what you're accustomed to, but it's also going to be like a rebrand for the channel. Of course, I'm still Shonda. I still inspire both male and female, but it's going to be something specifically for women and men that can relate to the content. Some of the content will be consistent, and some of the content will be specifically for women. See, 20 something years ago, God spoke to me in prayer and told me that He wanted to use me to really minister or just help women. Not really minister, but just help women. And I didn't know what it was. So I went and I talked to a man of God about it. And I told him I didn't know exactly what it was. I just knew that God told me that He really wanted to use me to inspire women and work with women. And I was all but stoned for even sharing what God had said to me. I was told that, we don't believe in women pastors over here. You can't be a minister or anything like that. You could go and work at the homeless shelter or be a missionary. And I wasn't asking for auxiliary in the church. I was literally just talking about or just sharing and wanted some advice on what God said to me. And I never will forget that day when I got in my car. It felt like something that just stung. It was like a hurt that was so deep, but I was familiar with the feeling. And I'll share that later on. But I was familiar with this stinging, this sting, this sensation that the devil, he really introduced me to that feeling before I could really talk as a child. I just remember that same sting, that same sensation that was oh so familiar, that the enemy would use out of my ignorance for me to continue to experience the same sting. And every time I thought about that, I knew then that God was going to use me to help women. I just did not know. And I think about that. Like, here we are full circle, 20 plus years later, and God is still saying, Shonda, it's the same thing. You're happy men and women, yes, but it's something exclusive that I've allowed you to experience to really bless women, to nurture women, to foster women, to inspire women to know that just because certain things happen in our lives as women, it ain't over. It ain't over. So I'm so excited about what's to come. And I just wanted to say this to everybody, and men included. And men, I want you to know I love you. I appreciate your support on the channel. The channel is not ending, it's changing forms, but the information shared, you can still apply it to you. I'm not forgetting about you either, but I know specifically what God is asking me to do for women. So some days it's just going to be me talking to my sisters, and if you can use it to apply to your life, brothers, most definitely use that. And then we'll also just have some of the regular things that you're accustomed to seeing, but it's changing forms in here. I have to be obedient to what God has called me to do, because I know how it is when I disobey God. Stuff in my life begins to change, things begin to fall apart, and I have to be obedient to God. And I'm so excited to have or create an environment for women to heal, to grow, to get inspired, to transform, and to educate yourself. So I'm so excited about what's to come. It is full circle up in here. God began speaking to me, and it's evidence. And I say this to anybody, everybody, men included. When God is giving you things to do, He leaves evidence. It's not like God would tell you to do certain things. I mean, at first, like 20 years ago, He told me, but I just didn't know what it was. But had I been in an environment that really would have taken me in and helped me, find that purpose, find that gift, find the assignment, it's no telling, what would happen. But God has His time, and it's always the perfect time. He may not come when we want Him to, baby, but He's always on time. We may not understand what He's calling us to, but when we get there, we'll understand why He called us to do it. And I want you to know that whoever you are, if God is pulling at your heart, if He is tugging at your heart, if He's telling you to start something, start that business, start that YouTube channel, start that nonprofit, pursue your dreams, whether it's singing, whether it's dancing, whether it's praise and worship, whether it is music, whether it's in the arts, whether it is financial literacy, whether it is being a stylist, a barber, whatever, actor, whatever God is calling you to do it. Because that obedience is better than any sacrifice that you could ever make. And when you obey God with your whole heart and you give Him the space in your life, even when you do not understand, He does things for you that you can never do on your own. And I want you to remember that, because you have to know this, that the devil don't know exactly what you're here to do, but once you start actively moving in that direction, he knows. And if he can stop you from doing it, he can stop what God has for you in the process of you becoming who He always knew that you would be. I want you to think about that tonight. And I am so excited for this rebranding. And no matter what, I want you to know I'm here for all of you. And I still be believing in you. Mwah. Peace. Have a good night.